Imagine going overseas for vacation and touring France, and you come across a gentleman wearing a denim American flag jacket, Wrangler jeans, and snakeskin cowboy boots, riding a Harley Davidson, flying American flags, the whole get-up. Looks like Uncle Sam himself. And wouldn't you know it, Mr. Sam is as American as it gets, asking for a burger at a French cafe and all. He's got 1776 tattooed across his left arm and We the People tattooed on his right arm. Since you're an American and a tourist yourself, you strike up a conversation, and he gives a rousing speech on American ideals, freedom, and why the US of A is the greatest country on planet Earth. He claims he's got the Constitution and Declaration of Independence memorized. You call his bluff, and he quotes them verbatim. Impressed, you offer to buy him a beer, and he says, only if it's American. You order your drinks, and the waitress asks to see your IDs. You show your passport and driver's license, and he pulls out a French ID. That strikes you as odd, so you ask him about it. He becomes evasive, and after beating around the bush, the truth is finally revealed, and he says, well, I'm not American by citizenship, I'm French, but I'm American in my heart. Upon hearing this, you're incredulous. What do you mean American by heart, but not by citizenship? And he says, well, I don't actually want to live in America. I'm fine out here. Plus, American laws are different than French, so I'd rather stick with what I'm familiar with. Also, I see some Americans on TV, and they speak rather poorly of their country. I don't want anything to do with those who would seek to detract from such a great nation. Now, in the above story, it's plain to see the ridiculousness of claiming or pretending to be American by sentiment, but not in actuality. Someone who doesn't agree with American laws or American authorities, doesn't want to live on American soil, and generally dislikes the American population, whilst claiming to be American where it counts, is contradictory and nonsensical. And furthermore, there are legitimate methods and manners by which one can become an American citizen, and upon obtaining citizenship, there are then continued expectations upon which your continued free citizenship is contingent upon. If an American breaks an American law on American soil, he can be punished by an American judge and sent to an American jail. But if you're not American and not on American soil, it's safe to say American laws don't apply. My last name is Abbott, so I grew up in the Abbott household, with the Abbott household's rules and authority structure, namely my parents. For someone to claim to be a member of the Abbott household, which I grew up in, not being born nor adopted into the family, nor growing up in our house and not obeying or being subject to my parents' authority, it's plain ridiculous. And even if they change their last name to Abbott, without birth into the family, adoption into the family, or marriage into the family, simply put, they're not a member of my family. And one could say family has broader meaning. You might have uncles or aunts that aren't siblings of your parents, but rather just close friends. And while that's true in a sense, in the realest sense of the word, they aren't family. Hence the term like family. For instance, well, Uncle Bill isn't actually related to us, but he's always been like family, hence why I call him Uncle. So to claim to be a part of an organization with a defined process or rules for entry and parameters for continued good standing within the group, while neither going through the process for ordinary admittance, nor obeying the rules or being subject to the group's authority, is nonsense. The point of these examples is simple. Belonging is not defined by sentiment, but by participation, submission, and recognition of authority. And if that's true in something as mundane as citizenship or family, then it raises an unavoidable question. Why would the church be the lone exception when it comes to authority? I've touched on a similar point in episode 17 of the Reformers redefining terms to fit their proposed alternatives to historic Christianity, so check that out if you haven't already. But at any rate, while the argument I'm putting forth today will largely apply to Protestants as well, my primary focus is on the churchless, self-professed Christians. Ones who would claim the title of Christian while being unaffiliated with any local body, Protestant or otherwise. I'm not today discussing those who are in between churches or are otherwise actively seeking a church home, but rather my aim today is to test the validity of those who reject the church on the local level whilst believing themselves to be part of the universal invisible church. Oftentimes, these individuals see themselves as the faithful remnant who just can't accept the watered-down or twisted gospel at these other local bodies, and use this as a justification for not being part of the local church. All in all, they take sola scriptura to its logical and practical conclusion. And check out episode 11 for more in that regard.